Good morning, and thank God it's Friday. You're welcome to today's edition of the program TVC Breakfast. My name is Etoma Edu.
Good morning, Nigeria. It's a beautiful Friday morning. Thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure to know that we have you join us. Monday to Friday, we've had fantastic conversations, and today, there's a lot to talk about on the table. I am Ria Abdul.
Absolutely. Thank God it's Friday. Thank you so much again for joining us all the way from Monday up until today. We're here again to give you all the information you deserve to know. I'm Ibrahim Sheta, and thanks for joining us. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you, of course. You know, just thinking about it, the way the days run very fast. You know, we're on Friday already.
Absolutely. So that's why they say, tick says the clock. Tick, tick, what you have to do quick.
For me, it just says that whatever dreams you want to chase, please do it fast, because time is definitely not on your side.
And for me, it tells me that work hard during the week and rest well during the weekend.
Absolutely.
Well, for some of us, but anyway, yes. Good morning once again, Nigeria. There is a lot to talk about on the show this morning. You know how we do it. I'll quickly just give you a rundown. At some point, we will do the newspaper review, where Ibrahim will bring us all the headlines and we get to dissect it and speak about it on this table. Just after that, we will have conversations concerning disability, very important, and the media's role in it. So please keep your fingers crossed for that. Also, we will talk about state policing, a very, very important conversation. So yes, make sure you grab your cup of coffee and let's have a fantastic one. But not to forget, we'll also have trending now, where Ibrahim will bring us all the stories that have been trending all over social media. But we will start with this story. Now, the federal government of Nigeria has announced that former President Goodluck Jonathan has been successfully evacuated from Guinea-Bissau after a military coup disrupted the country's election. Now, Mr. Jonathan, who led an election observer mission, was stranded when soldiers announced a total takeover and shut the airport and land borders. Now, in a joint statement on Wednesday, Jonathan and other election observer leaders condemned the coup, calling it an attack on Guinea-Bissau's democratic process. Now, they urge calm and reaffirm commitment to supporting the country's peace and stability during this very critical period. So, Etoma, this is the conversation that we're having. I know that yesterday we mentioned a bit of it on Trending Now, but I'll just take you through this quickly. You know, since their independence in 1974, they've always had this military interference, and, you know, their democracy has always been threatened in one way or the other. In 2003, there was a coup where the army removed President Kumba Yala. There was a coup then. And then in 2012, just before the presidential runoff, the military again took power and suspended institutions as well as detained leaders. So we are not surprised, because this is not the first time we see this kind of thing happening in Guinea-Bissau. A lot of Nigerians were worried because of ex-President Jonathan that was there as an election observer. But Etoma, what do you make of this? This is Guinea-Bissau. Every time we get to hear their military is always very fast to take over.
Oh, well, if you want to talk about the number of times there have been coups in Guinea-Bissau, there are countries you can't compare it with, Nigeria being one of them. You understand? But for me, I would just want Nigerians to know that when the coup happened, you know, when it happened, one of the first things the military did was to get all the VIPs that were there for election observation. They give them some kind of protection, you know, while they waited for evacuation of the people. And I want to commend the federal government of Nigeria for doing that, for evacuating Goodluck Jonathan. And we have him back home, hale and hearty, and everybody's okay. Coup is something that should be condemned. Because democracy is where everybody is looking at. It's so we shouldn't encourage it. And, you know, the AU and ECOWAS have condemned it completely.
We definitely should not, you know, encourage it, just like Etoma said. But we hear that former President Goodluck Jonathan is safe. You know, he was brought back on a special flight with other delegates. I also like the fact that they made sure that he was kept secure, because even I was worried yesterday. A lot of Nigerians were worried about his safety. But Ibrahim, what is happening in Guinea-Bissau? When will they finally experience this democracy?
They were in democracy before democratic governance, before the coup actually happened, and it's good. First and foremost, it's very good that we have our former President Goodluck Jonathan, you know, being rescued from there. As long as well as is it Mozambique president who was also, you know, part of those who were election observers, and then they got caught up. But there is a conspiracy analysis or theory regarding this coup. President Umar Sissoco Embalo was said to have claimed to be the winner of this election. And then the opposition party also claimed, the opposition figure also claimed to have won the election. Just few hours to the announcement of the election by the Electoral Commission, then the coup happened, orchestrated by the presidential guard, one who actually led, who's supposed to guard the president. But people are saying that, from the opposition and some analysts and NGOs are saying, or CSOs, they're saying that this president might have actually orchestrated his own coup, staged his own coup, because he spoke with France 24 that he had been overtaken, by the military. So the military has given him, has taken him into house arrest, as well as the opposition, and the leader of the army of the country. They're just about 2.1 million, citizens, and you're wondering this kind of thing going on. So they are saying he already knew that he might not win the election. So they planned it, they staged it. But whatever happens, this is a country that is oil rich, but there are so many islands, alongside the fringes of the Senegal and one other country that border them. So this is a problem. If you have a country where the mineral resources, natural resources, all those islands are inhabited, uninhabited, so much so that it is allowing drug cartels to be trading drugs, because one of the places where you find strong drug cartels, serving as courier for other countries. So they come to Guinea-Bissau, do whatever they want to do, package it, and then they take it to other countries. But this is a problem with the African leaders. Why is it that
that's where I want to come to. We are not sure, speculations. We are not sure he's the one that planned the whole thing. So it's just speculations. We're not sure. We need to put that out. But my problem with the whole thing is that two captains cannot steer a boat. I always worry when we have some leaders that want to fight tooth and nail for something. Maybe you've lost, but you still want to fight. I think that they do not think about the citizens. That's my problem. At that point, they are thinking about themselves and not the people of the country.
Now, you find out that things like that happen more in Africa.
Why is it with Africa and power?
So you see, when the coup happened, quite a number of people said, the coup came at the right time, because the coup has prevented a lot of bloodshed and a lot of a situation where that would have dragged for a long time, which wouldn't have augured well for Guinea-Bissau, because, as you mentioned, it's a hub for drug trafficking. In fact, it's a main bus stop for drug movement
West African region,
in West Africa and the whole of Africa. And some major drug cartels outside the continent use that route too. And if things like that happen, it means that government officials, people in the military, might be culpable too. So in that kind of situation, you don't want any sort of unrest to stay for long. So because of that, people are saying, the coup came at the right time, and that's why I mentioned tomato
tomato the other time.
Can whoever come at the right or wrong time?
So the thing is, the president, has actually survived about 5 coups. We don't know how that was. So he would have been the first person to be elected twice. He had actually boasted that he would be re-elected again, and then, what's it called, dismissing that jinx that no one will be elected twice in that country. But one thing is, they won't do this without the collaboration from within and from outside, because all these foreign community, they were actually colonized by the Portuguese. So even the Portuguese government had also said, condemned the coup. West African region has condemned the coup, that's ECOWAS, and then we are now having coup in Niger, Burkina Faso, is it Chad or Mali, and then now we are now looking at of Guinea-Bissau.
Ibrahim, the problem is, what is it with African leaders and when it comes to power? I feel like that is a big discussion that we need to speak about.
And if you look at
because everybody does not want to come down for one person.
It's one of the poorest nations in Africa, and you're wondering what
are they doing for their people? That's the thing. What are they even doing for their people in terms of governance? You're fighting for power, but what are you doing for your people?
When you see a trend going on in a particular zone, look at the tradition of the people. Just look at the tradition of the people. You see that it stems from there.
Wow. Like I said earlier on, two captains cannot stay boats. At the end of the day, our leaders need to think about the people they are governing, which is more important, because that's why they are there.